That's Emma's plate. She's been waiting all day for Christmas dinner. Oh, please, Serena. Tyler needs to eat too, and he's growing. You literally took food off my daughter's plate and gave it to him. Don't be so dramatic. There's plenty more in the kitchen. That was the last of the turkey. Emma specifically asked for that piece. Well, maybe next time you should serve the children first instead of letting them wait. My mother-in-law took my daughter's food and gave it to her stepson at Christmas dinner. Hi, I'm Serena. Today I'm going to tell you my story. But before I continue, please like, share, and subscribe to hear more stories like this. 5 years ago, I married Jake, thinking I'd found my perfect match. He was kind, funny, and amazing with my 6-year-old daughter Emma from my previous relationship. Jake had been married before too, and had a son Tyler, who was 8. We blended our families with what I thought was love and understanding. Then I met Diane, Jake's mother. From our first meeting, Diane made it crystal clear that Tyler was her real grandchild, and Emma was just some kid who happened to live in her son's house. She never said it directly, of course. Diane was too clever for that. Instead, she showed it through 1,000 little actions that cut deeper than words ever could. At Tyler's birthday parties, Diane would buy elaborate gifts and make a huge fuss. When Emma's birthday came around, Diane would show up empty-handed with excuses. Oh, sweetie, I've been so busy with work. I'll get you something special next week. Next week never came. When we'd visit Diane's house, she'd have Tyler's favorite snacks stocked in the pantry and his preferred juice in the refrigerator. Emma would ask for something to drink, and Diane would sigh dramatically. I suppose you could have some water, dear. Jake noticed, but always made excuses. Mom's just used to Tyler's routine. She'll warm up to Emma. 3 years passed. Diane didn't warm up. She got more subtle and more cruel. Emma started asking why Grandma Diane didn't like her. How do you explain to an 8-year-old that some adults are just small-minded and petty? I tried to shield her, while hoping Jake would finally stand up to his mother. My best friend Rachel saw it clearly. Serena, that woman is emotionally abusing Emma. She's creating a hierarchy where Tyler is the golden child and Emma is nothing. I keep hoping Jake will see it and say something. Jake sees it. He's just choosing his mother's comfort over his stepdaughter's well-being. That stung because it was true. The worst incident before Christmas happened at Tyler's school play. Diane had insisted we all go to support him, which was fine. Tyler was playing a tree in the environmental awareness production, and he did great. After the show, Diane made a big scene about how proud she was, taking dozens of photos and telling everyone nearby that Tyler was her grandson and wasn't he wonderful. Emma tugged on Jake's sleeve. Daddy Jake, I have a play next week too. Will Grandma Diane come to mine? Jake looked at his mother hopefully. Mom, Emma's playing Little Red Riding Hood. She's been practicing her lines for weeks. Diane barely glanced at Emma. Oh, I don't think I'll be available. I have my book club that week. Emma's face fell, but she tried again. It's on Thursday, Grandma Diane. Maybe you could come after book club. We'll see, dear. I knew we'll see meant no. Emma knew it too. At Emma's play the following week, the auditorium was filled with proud parents and grandparents cheering for their kids. Emma kept scanning the audience hopefully during her scenes, looking for Diane's face. She never found it. After the play, Emma ran up to us, still in her Red Riding Hood costume. Did you see me, Mommy? Did I do good? You were perfect, sweetheart, I said, hugging her tight. Where's Grandma Diane? She asked, still looking around. Jake's jaw tightened. She couldn't make it tonight, Em, but she would have been proud of you. Even Jake was starting to see the pattern, but he still wouldn't confront his mother directly. My sister Lisa visited for Thanksgiving and witnessed Diane in action. During dinner, Diane spent the entire meal asking Tyler about school, his friends, his interests. She completely ignored Emma, who sat quietly eating and occasionally trying to join the conversation. When Emma mentioned that she'd learned to ride her bike without training wheels, Diane didn't even acknowledge her. When Tyler mentioned getting an A on a spelling test, Diane practically threw him a parade. After dinner, Lisa pulled me aside. That woman is horrible. How does Jake let her treat Emma like she's invisible? He talks to her privately, but it never changes anything. Private conversations aren't working. This needs to be addressed publicly in the moment, every single time. I knew Lisa was right. But I also knew that confronting Diane directly would create a war, and Jake wasn't ready for that battle. Everything came to a head at Christmas dinner. Diane had insisted on hosting as usual. She'd spent weeks planning the perfect meal, decorating her house, and making sure everything was exactly how she wanted it. Tyler was practically bouncing with excitement because Christmas at Grandma's house meant he was the center of attention. Emma, now 9, had learned to expect less, but still hoped for some kindness. We arrived at Diane's house at noon. The table was beautifully set with her finest china and crystal glasses. The smell of turkey and all the fixings filled the air. "Tyler, darling, come help Grandma in the kitchen," Diane called out the moment we walked in. Tyler ran off happily, while Emma stood awkwardly in the entryway. "Emma can help too," I suggested. "Oh, there's really only room for one helper," Diane replied sweetly. "Emma can just play in the living room." Jake's brother Mark and his wife Jennifer arrived with their twin toddlers. Diane fussed over them appropriately, but still maintained clear favorites. Tyler was her prince, the twins were cute distractions, and Emma remained invisible. During gift exchanges, the disparity was shocking even by Diane's standards. Tyler received a new gaming console, expensive clothes, sports equipment, and about 6 other significant presents. The twins got age-appropriate toys and books. Emma's pile consisted of a generic dollar store coloring book and a pack of crayons that looked like they'd been grabbed from a gas station. "What do you say, Emma?" Jake prompted gently. Emma looked at the pathetic gifts and then at Tyler's mountain of presents. "Thank you, Grandma Diane." Her voice was small and defeated. I wanted to scream. Jennifer looked uncomfortable. Mark shot his mother a questioning look. Even Tyler seemed to realize something wasn't right. But the real explosion came at dinner. Diane had outdone herself with the spread. The turkey was perfectly golden, the sides looked like something from a magazine, and everything was arranged beautifully on serving platters. "We all sat down," said Grace, and began passing the food around the table. Emma was sitting between Jake and me, while Tyler was positioned right next to Diane in the spot of honor. Emma had been talking all week about Christmas dinner. She loved turkey and had specifically requested the drumstick. I'd made sure to mention this to Diane ahead of time. "Grandma Diane, could Emma have one of the drumsticks? She's been looking forward to it all week." "Of course," Diane had said. "I'll make sure to save one for her." But when the turkey was carved, both drumsticks went straight to Tyler's plate without question. Emma noticed immediately. "Mommy, I thought I was getting a drumstick." "Let me ask Grandma," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. "Diane, could Emma have one of Tyler's drumsticks? She's been really excited about it." Diane waved dismissively. "Tyler's a growing boy. He needs the protein. Emma can have some of the breast meat." I felt my temper rising, but tried to keep the peace. She really had her heart set on the drumstick. "Tyler has 2. I said he needs them both." Emma looked like she was about to cry, but she didn't argue. Jake looked uncomfortable but didn't speak up. I loaded Emma's plate with breast meat and tried to move on, but I could see the disappointment in my daughter's eyes. Then came the stuffing incident. Emma loved stuffing. It was her favorite part of any big dinner. I watched her face light up as the bowl came around the table toward her. But when it reached Emma, Diane suddenly reached across the table and grabbed the serving spoon. "Oh, Tyler needs more stuffing," she announced, completely bypassing Emma and dumping the rest of the bowl onto Tyler's already full plate. "But I didn't get any yet," Emma said quietly. "There's more in the kitchen," Diane replied without looking at her. "I'll get it." I started to stand. "Sit down, Serena. Dinner is served. Everyone has enough food." Emma stared at her empty spot where stuffing should have been while Tyler's plate overflowed with food. But the final straw came with the cranberry sauce. Emma had specifically asked for cranberry sauce with her meal. It was sitting right in front of Diane, well within Emma's reach. But Diane was controlling all the serving. Emma politely asked, "Could I please have some cranberry sauce, Grandma Diane?" Diane looked at the bowl, looked at Emma, then looked at Tyler's plate. Without saying a word, she spooned the remaining cranberry sauce onto Tyler's plate. "There," she said with satisfaction. Emma's face crumpled. She'd been so patient, so polite, so hopeful. And Diane had systematically made sure she got nothing she wanted, while Tyler got everything plus extra. "Diane, I said, my voice sharp. Emma asked for cranberry sauce. Tyler likes cranberry sauce too. Emma asked first. Well, Tyler's plate looked a little bare. Tyler's plate looked like a small mountain of food, while Emma's looked sad and sparse. That's when I snapped and started serving Emma from the platters myself, making sure she got generous portions of everything. What are you doing? Diane demanded. I'm making sure my daughter has enough food at Christmas dinner. She has plenty of food. I looked at Emma's plate, then at Tyler's overflowing dish. Really? This looks plenty to you? That's when it escalated into the full confrontation. That's Emma's plate. She's been waiting all day for Christmas dinner. Oh, please, Serena. Tyler needs to eat too, and he's growing. You literally took food off my daughter's plate and gave it to him. Don't be so dramatic. There's plenty more in the kitchen. That was the last of the turkey. Emma specifically asked for that piece. Well, maybe next time you should serve the children first instead of letting them wait. The entire table went silent. Jennifer's mouth was hanging open. Mark looked mortified. Jake finally found his voice. Mom, what are you doing? I'm serving Christmas dinner to my family. Emma is family too. Emma is your stepchild, Jacob. Tyler is my grandson. The words hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Emma started crying silently, tears streaming down her face. Mom, Jake's voice was deadly quiet. Emma is my daughter, not my stepchild, my daughter. She's not blood, Jacob. Neither am I, if that's how you want to play it. I'm adopted, remember? Diane's face went white. She'd completely forgotten that Jake himself wasn't her biological child. She'd adopted him when he was 4 after marrying his father. Mark leaned forward. Mom, seriously? You're going to treat a 9-year-old like garbage on Christmas because she's not blood-related? You adopted Jake. How is this different? That's completely different. How? Jennifer demanded. How is it different? Jake chose to be Emma's father. You chose to be Jake's mother. Love makes family, not DNA. Diane realized she'd backed herself into a corner with her own logic, but instead of backing down, she doubled down. This is my house, and I'll serve dinner how I see fit. I stood up and started gathering Emma's things. Then we'll eat somewhere else. Serena, wait, Jake said, finally stepping up. Mom, this stops now. Right now. Emma is my daughter and your granddaughter, and you're going to treat her exactly the same as Tyler, or we won't be coming around anymore. You can't threaten me, Jacob. It's not a threat. It's a boundary, and if you can't respect it, we'll find somewhere else to spend our holidays. We left Diane's house that day and went to my sister Lisa's for dinner. Lisa had prepared a small meal for her own family and happily made room for us. Emma finally got her drumstick and all the cranberry sauce she wanted, but the damage was done. Emma had learned a painful lesson about how some adults can be cruel for no reason other than their own petty prejudices. The aftermath was swift and decisive. Word spread quickly through Jake's family about what had happened at Christmas dinner. Mark and Jennifer told their friends, who told their families, and soon everyone in Diane's social circle knew she'd mistreated a 9-year-old girl on Christmas. Jake's father, Richard, who'd divorced Diane years earlier, called Jake the next day. I heard what happened yesterday. I want you to know that Emma is welcome at my house anytime, and she'll be treated like the granddaughter she is. Richard had remarried a lovely woman named Carol, who embraced Emma immediately. Suddenly, Emma had grandparents who actually acted like grandparents. Diane's church friends began distancing themselves after the story spread. Several women from her Bible study group expressed shock that she could be so cruel to a child. I can't believe Diane would do that, her friend Margaret told Jake when she ran into him at the grocery store. That poor little girl, how is she doing? Jake started being honest about his mother's behavior instead of making excuses. Emma's doing better now that she understands the problem isn't with her. Diane's book club decided to take a break from meeting after several members said they were uncomfortable with her attitude toward children. Her volunteer position reading to kids at the library was quietly terminated when word reached the staff. The most significant consequence came from Tyler himself. Tyler was old enough to understand what had happened at dinner, and he felt terrible about it. He started asking his grandmother why she didn't like Emma, and when Diane tried to explain that Tyler was special because he was her real grandchild, Tyler got upset. "Emma's nice to me. She shares her toys and helps me with homework. Why are you mean to her?" Diane's attempts to turn Tyler against Emma backfired completely. Instead, Tyler began defending Emma and asking to spend more time at our house where everyone is nice to everyone. Tyler also started declining some of Diane's special outings and gifts, saying he felt bad that Emma was always left out. "I don't want to go to the movies if Emma can't come too," he told his grandmother. For a woman whose whole identity was wrapped up in being Tyler's favorite person, losing his unconditional adoration was devastating. Jake filed for a custody schedule modification, reducing Tyler's time with Diane and increasing our family time together. Since Jake had been the primary parent since his divorce, the court readily approved the change. Diane tried to fight it, but had no legal standing. Her pattern of favoritism was well documented, and even Tyler's mom, Kelly, supported the change after Tyler told her about Christmas dinner. "No child should be treated that way," Kelly said. "If Diane can't be fair to both kids, she shouldn't have unsupervised time with Tyler." 6 months later, Diane found herself almost completely isolated. Her social circle had evaporated, her relationship with Tyler was strained, and Jake had made it clear that any contact with our family was contingent on her treating Emma with respect. She made a few half-hearted attempts at reconciliation, but they always came with conditions or excuses. "I suppose I could try to be nicer to Emma, but you have to understand that it's hard for me to relate to her. Mom, she's 9. She likes dolls and Disney movies and ice cream. It's not complicated." Well, she's just so different from Tyler. They're both kids who want love and acceptance. They're not different at all. The final blow to Diane's stubborn position came from an unexpected source, Tyler's biological mother, Kelly. Kelly had always been cordial with Diane for Tyler's sake, but after learning about the Christmas incident, she delivered an ultimatum. "Diane, I've looked the other way on a lot of your quirks over the years, but I will not have Tyler learning that it's okay to treat people poorly based on circumstances they can't control. If you continue this behavior toward Emma, Tyler won't be visiting you anymore." With both parents united against her, Diane finally realized she'd lost all her leverage. The transformation in Emma was remarkable once she was free from Diane's toxic influence. She blossomed into a confident, happy kid who knew she was loved and valued. She developed a wonderful relationship with Richard and Carol, who treated her exactly like their biological grandchildren. Tyler also benefited from the change. Without the constant pressure to be Diane's perfect golden child, he relaxed and became more empathetic. He and Emma grew closer as siblings, united by their shared experience of navigating adult drama they never should have been exposed to. Jake learned to prioritize his children's well-being over his mother's comfort. "I spent years trying to manage everyone's feelings," he told me one day, "but the only feelings I should have been protecting were Emma's and Tyler's." Today, 2 years later, Diane remains largely isolated. She occasionally sends birthday cards or Christmas gifts to Tyler, but her relationship with our family is permanently changed. Emma is thriving, Tyler is happy, and Jake has become the father and husband I always knew he could be. Diane created her own consequences through her choices. Sometimes the most powerful response to cruelty is simply refusing to enable it anymore and letting natural consequences unfold. When someone in your family consistently shows favoritism towards certain children, what do you think is the most important thing to consider when deciding how to handle it?